Hi everyone, welcome back. Nicole here with Edge of Wild, and I'm going to take you on an end of August garden tour. The garden looks like it's past the stage of wild. It's very wild, but it's also tired. The last 2 weeks we've had nothing but rain, like at least something every day, a couple of really heavy rains, and that has beat up the flowers a lot. The weeds went crazy. I have even more limited time than I had before. So the garden is definitely wild and in need of some love and organization. However, I don't know if we're gonna get it this fall. We'll get it cleaned up. There's always next year. Always important to remember with gardens, there's always next year. But I'm gonna show you what I have going on. And kind of as a note to me, what I have going on, some of the failures, some of the good things, and we'll just go through all of it. Okay, so to start, all of the rain has made the silver tip kind of fall over and droop. I've used it in arrangements a little bit. That side's really flopped. I like it. I think if I were to grow it next year, I think I might grow it for like wreaths. Because I could dry that down and make bundles pretty easily. Not certain, not sold. But glad I only dedicated a small space to it. Probably will harvest it all for dried and see if I end up using it for dried arrangements. Because it's pretty much, I think there's like this stem over here is still pretty green. And there's a couple in there, but for the most part they're all dried down like this one. So, and then it needs to be weeded in here because grass is taking over. Caladiums are still looking good. Really didn't do anything with them this year, just let them be happy little beautiful flowers. And those are all ones that showed up on their own. Here is the first row of sunflowers. Pretty much everything flowered out, and now they're just kind of all the stems that need to go through and be cut and weeded and all that good jazz. Beans also need to be pulled. It is time. It is time. It looks like one of my tomato branches fell down. These. Let's see if I can get that to thread back up there. I don't know if I will. There we go. At least get picked off the ground. So, tomatoes, at least these ones, I thought these were supposed to be the Mountain Fresh. I don't think they are, because they're not red. So I think they're actually the Valence, which are the orange tomatoes. But plants are, over the rain, the humidity that we had, I could go through and pick all of the fruit that's starting to blush, take that in the house, because if we're going to get more rain, they're just going to split. But yes, beans definitely need to be pulled. They are all well past usable. It is so wet in here. There are so many mosquitoes and bugs, because all of the foliage holds the moisture in the ground, and doesn't dry out. It's been an amazing mosquito year wherever you go. I mean, the garden's bad, but it's bad everywhere. Edgerarium turned out really good. Definitely gonna plant more next year. Not gonna plant more than this size patch though. This was plenty I used from it, but as you can see, I didn't use all of it. So I probably could even do like half this size, and that would be fine. Sunflowers are super weedy on the old end. They look a little better on that end. Glads are a sad story. So all of the glads ended up getting thrips, which I think have been overwintering in my soil and making all the problems that I've had trying to grow glads the last couple of years. So they all end up looking rotten and are no good. And let's see, I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on them. Can you see? Hang on, let me readjust here. You can see those tiny, where'd they go? Like there's one right on the lip there. Right under my thumbnail there. That little whitish looking yellow line, that's a thrip. And if I've had issues with glads for the last 3 years, it means they're well established in my soil. So I think my plan is we're gonna pull out all the glads, maybe even burn everything, like all the foliage. And I'm gonna get some nematodes next year, and I don't think I'm gonna grow glads. I think I'm gonna take a year off. They go after snapdragons really bad too, but glads seems to be the #1 problem I have. I haven't decided if I'm going to pull the corms, dust them with diatomaceous earth, and maybe try them next year. Maybe not in the garden, but I definitely have a thrip issue, and it has annihilated every single glad in here, which is really depressing because they're my favorite flower. But we will try to work on making it better for next year. So I think I'm going to try the beneficial nematodes. I think there's a couple other things I can try that treat the soil. And I'm probably going to treat the entire garden and just see if I can get them to go away. And most likely take the year off of glads next year. Sunflowers. I still have some out here. They look pretty good. I don't think I'm going to grow the plum next year. So the problem I have with the plum is the leaves, the petals fall off really easily once it's picked. They just don't seem to have quite the vase life. These are the white knights. I just didn't get out to pick these ones in time. All the sunflowers, I don't care how well you space out your plantings, your sunflowers are going to come to fruition all at one time. Alright, let me get through here. This is the Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus. It definitely does get huge. I've tried a couple of stems. I don't know if it's quite woody enough. Maybe. Pretty flexible up here, but down towards the base it feels a lot more woody. I like that. I might even just grow some more next year to try to put in the flower beds if I water it a little better. Because the ones in the flower beds don't look anything like this one. And I think it's due to lack of water. Acorn squash. I thought these plants would ramble. They are just now, like this one is just starting. Just starting to ramble. But I've got a couple squash in there. I've got probably like 6 or 8. So, is what it is. I know I'm probably not going to plant those on a trellis next year because I swear they rambled when they were in here wild. But did not do it this year. Kajari melons. I've got some baby fruit in there. Nothing looks like it's ripening yet, but lots of babies. I mean, if anything else, I guess I'll have some cool striped fruit, but none of them look like they have that orangish tone on the bottom. Asters look good. They'd look a whole lot better if the rain hadn't beat them up. The giant aster mix from Baker's Creek did awesome. Great. However, these ones down here, which are the apricot from Johnny's, not as good. Not as good. So I'm going to give them another year and see, because I think I still have seed left over, but I'm not going to order more seed yet. These are little baby pumpkins. This plant's finally taking off, and I've got most of it growing up the trellis. But these asters, like if they weren't beat up from the rain, they'd look pretty good. Even the white ones seem to hold and not get beat up anywhere near as fast, whereas these apricots, if it even, like, the dew gets on them and they discolor. So this needs to be cleaned out. My ranunculus corms are still down there if they haven't rotted. I need to pull those out. Snapdragons have put on another flush. They look pretty good. Tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, so prolific. Totally could have trimmed more. Definitely need to keep them on the trellis more. They've flopped a little bit, but there's only so much time in a day, and I have a whole bunch more responsibilities at this point. Look at this striped German. Like, that's my hand. Isn't it huge? It's huge. It's like the size of my face. It's definitely a fasciated blossom, and I don't know if it's all going to ripen at one time to be usable, but it's huge and I love it. I have lots of blushing tomatoes in here that I should come pick. The lemon boys, I've had quite a few of these this year, and I really do like them. I think I definitely will grow those again. Definitely ready to pick some of these. Like, this one's even blushing a little bit, and I could pick that and bring that in and let it ripen. This is how you know that the indigo cherries are ripe. The bottom is red. So, like, not ripe and ripe. Really have liked the sun peach. They really do not split anywhere near as much, and I love that fact. So I'm going to keep growing those. I've got tomatoes falling off because they're so heavy. But a lot of these I think are fasciated blossoms because they look like they have quite a bit of splitting or cat facing to them. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the Mountain Fresh. I swear I labeled these correctly. Okay, on this side of the cherry tomatoes, we have the Snapdragons, which they are putting on another flush. I have noticed some thrips in them, but not terrible. So, I don't know, maybe the glads are like a sacrificial crop, but I'd rather sacrifice my Snapdragons. On this side, my peas are dried and dead, and I don't know, maybe I could even pick some of the seed pods off of there and use them for seeds next year. But onions, I have harvested some. I'm ready. It looks like I'm ready to harvest the rest of the reds. Those yellows could be harvested because they have flopped. I think the potatoes are at the point they could all be harvested. I've harvested out a couple, but I think I could definitely do this half of the row. Guess we can walk up through here. Walking through the garden has become a major challenge this year. I'm hoping next year to string and stake it sooner and better. This feverfew, definitely all spent. It took longer for these to come in, and like the magic ball ones, I think they're not as they don't fill out a bouquet as much as I would like. Beets, I don't know, they probably all split by now. I think there's a big one here. Yeah. Massive beet. Might be pretty woody inside at this point. Would have to try again. This feverfew, I like it a lot better. I think I'm going to use this one quite a bit more next year. Status. Got to plant it farther apart than I did this last year. I think that would help the blooms look a lot better. I think they're struggling for room. Marigolds. I'm not planting them next year. If I do, it's only going to be a patch this big. I'm not dedicating that whole row over there. They are too challenging for me to use in an arrangement because their stems are so, like, brittle, not flexible, not good. Not going to do those. Definitely going to do more of these. I loved these when they were fresh and not beat up by the rain. I think these are the Gloriosa Rudbeckia. Loved them. Highly recommend. Did come out and trim back my yarrow because so much of it had flopped. It was kind of suffocating out some of the plants. So hopefully now with some cleaned out space, it'll come back. I need to replant some sea holly because that got drowned out again by the floppage. Definitely need to stake that early on in the year, corral it or something, like put a stake down in the middle and pull it all up so it stays upright. Woo. Oh, you want to see my friend? He's not really my friend because he scares the daylights out of me. But see him down there? My husband says he's a leopard frog. I don't know what he actually is. I just know he's recently moved in. He's big. He hops really high. I almost step on him. He jumps. Scares me. Not a bad frog. Good with having a frog. Not good with being startled constantly. The Sweet William turned out really good. Definitely going to plant more of that next year. Delphiniums, good right up until the wind got crazy and the rain, it knocked them all down. But I'll trim those all back, and I'm hoping they come back next year. And then that patch of Rebecca is also glorious. Those are the Indian Summer. I will do those again as well. I don't know if I'll do as many plants. I might do less plants of that one because I didn't use it a ton. And I don't know if it's my fault, its fault. We'll see. But if I clean out this potato row, I might have some room to walk. A lot of things just need to be trimmed up. Though I had a nightmare last night that my husband decided to come clean out the garden for me and just like ran the mower over it and ripped out my tomatoes, like even with all the tomatoes still on it. Oh, I woke up in a cold sweat this morning. I don't think I've ever woke up quite so mad from a dream. And I've definitely woke up mad from dreams before, but that one was, my heart stopped a little bit. Celosia, I definitely did not use any of this yellow color again. It always just looks like that to me. Have used quite a bit of the terracotta. It's starting to seed out and be on its way out, so I'm kind of done with that. Phlox. Definitely want to plant more next year. Definitely need to space it more. Definitely need to stake it up somehow. Corral it up. Because I love using it. I love the smell. It's awesome. But it's too close together, so the stems were too weak. But the ones on the outer edges, where they had more sun, more room, they grew a lot better. Blue Plurum. Definitely going to plant it again next year. I don't think I'm going to do as big of a patch as this. Also think I'm going to corral that. I think that will help it. I have one of my pumpkins, one of my gourds is coming through here. So this trellis is working out exactly how I pictured it. So I definitely am going to plant more of this next year on trellises. But I have little mini pumpkins. And then I have all these gourds. And doesn't that look so cool with them hanging down? I love it. I love it. I'm going to weave this one back this way so it keeps filling it out. There. Weave that back in. But yeah, no, totally excited by the gourds I'm getting on this thing. This is doing what I want it to do. This one's funny shaped. Straw flowers, awesome. Love them. Probably will plant the same amount next year. Because you have to cut them at night. You can't cut them in the morning. Or at least I haven't tried because they close up overnight. They literally go right back shut. Basil. I'm done with purple basil. This time of year when I use basil a lot, it looks so spent. It looks like raggedy and everything, and I'm not doing that. My last little bit of usable feverfew. Feverfew is pretty well all on its way out now too. Look at this one. This dahlia is opening up. My dahlias have turned out really good this year. I am very happy. I honestly almost wish I had more plants, but next year I would go to do this and have major issues. So I don't know. We will see. But yes, dahlias are good. Been using those right along. I really like the colors. Love them. Here are my lilies. I've had a couple of these open up now. I've used some. I have to cut right down all the way to the bottom. Here's another. Oh, where'd he go? There's another little froggy. Frogs are happy this year because in here there's so many bugs. But lilies look good. Poppies, I love those. While they were nice colored, now they're kind of dried out. Honestly, I should come through and just cut a bunch of these seed heads and save them for seed for next year. And like the flowers are really pretty for me to enjoy. I've had a whole bunch of different ones. I was mad at myself. I saw this really pretty frilly one and I was like, oh, I should go grab my phone and take a picture, and then I didn't. And it was gone, you know, the next day because they only last about a day. And I was like, there'll probably be another one. Hasn't been another one like it at all. So, lesson, if your poppy has a flower you like, take a picture. Love these dahlias. I believe these are the Cornell Bronze. Sunflowers, the last of them, opening up. Like I said, those plums make me mad because their petals fall off. I don't really want to be selling flowers where the petals are falling off constantly. More blue plum. This patch is actually a lot healthier because it was like the last one to be started. Sunflower graveyard. I need to come through with like the loppers and just cut them off the bottom. And then my zinnias, which have been totally attacked by the beetles, but they seem to be fighting back now. So this short patch here, those are the direct seeded ones. This is why I don't love direct seeding them. It's not worth it to me. It was worth it then because I was pretty well done trying to plant them inside, but typically not worth it. Such a pretty bloom. Brussels. I pulled the leaves off again. They're starting to form up. They're not all the prettiest, but they're starting. I could probably come through and pull more leaves off. Celery, I pulled a bunch of these out. Froze a bunch of it. I think it would be good to come through and pull again and freeze some more. Kale. When kale rots, it starts to stink. The cabbage on the other side doesn't help, but now that it's cooling down, some of these newer leaves would probably be good to eat again. Cabbage that needs to be pulled and given to the chickens. Sad excuse of cucumber plants. I don't know why, but whenever I try to start them up the trellis, I don't know if that's when like the beetles quickly go after them or what, but they're just not made for it. As much as people are trying to grow them up trellises all the time, just not made for it. That one got away. That one's too big. Oh, there's one more in here. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Oh, I wonder if there's more growing into the carrots. The carrots are something that need to be harvested too. It is time. I don't notice any in there. But these things have probably been nibbled on and or split. Oh yeah. Ready to be harvested. Nice giant carrot. Carrots smell so good out of the ground too. Dill that is seeding out and will forever live here. The mosquitoes are worse at this part of the garden. Bugs. Zinnias are great. Love them. I want a yellow variety next year. I really like these cranberry wine ones, but so do the bugs. I had some more lavender looking ones. I really like those. Those were hard to get hold of. But like, look how nice and beautiful those are. Might do a little bit less green next year, although the green are very reliable, which is something I like about them. Squash plants, zucchini plants, they did. I've had a lot of zucchini squash, zucchini bread, but they're spent. Time for chicken food. Same with the squash plants. Also spent. Also time for chicken food. Someone remind me to plant less in the hill. It's like I was afraid they were going to die because we do that quite often on me. No, they just crazy. I'll take that one. That one's still edible. Could be lunch. Maybe I'll have a garden lunch. Enjoy it, because as we come to the end here, this will be the end. I really should try growing these straight up in the air next year. I've always said I want to do that. This plant's still going to try to go for it. I like these ones. They don't get as big, but I like them. And these ones, I can never get the bugs to not eat them. And they kind of have the weaker stems, but I love them. There's like no walking through here. Note to self, better corral system. And look at these, they're huge. Absolutely huge. I think they don't last as long in the vase sometimes though. They can be hit or miss for me. And here is the pumpkin patch. I know I'm going to have these little white pumpkins. That I can guarantee. The bugs, oh, they're wicked down here too. That I'm not surprised by. However, like there's one over there. These ones are the big ones. This one already turned orange. However, the pumpkins down here, it took them forever to put on female flowers. So, like this one's just forming a pumpkin. And I think this is supposed to be the large variety. I think. But, we'll get what we get. It's always just an experiment anyways. I'm not crawling in there. I was hoping to get a green one. But, this is also a plant I have yet to see a female flower on, so I don't think I'm going to get a green one again. Try again next year. But yeah. So they're growing. They're unhappy yellow, and I don't know if it's too much water, which would be a great likelihood. Because it's wet. It's wet down here. It's been a wet year. It's just wet. Or if it's lack of nitrogen, because like the one plant started dying off way earlier, which it might just not have enough broken down nitrogen, kind of like that squash plant early on in the year, because they're planted like in straight compost, but I don't know if it was broke down enough, and if it wasn't, that's probably where the problem lays. But that's the pumpkin patch update. So that's an end of August garden tour of everything out there, bugs, critters, frogs included. I definitely have my work cut out for me in terms of getting stuff harvested and cleaned up. A lot of stuff, like I'll cut it and then I have to put it in the walkways because I don't have time to like take it all down to compost. A lot of things to be harvested, just not a lot of time. Never a lot of time. My time in the evenings are even shot now, and evening comes way sooner, or at least darkness does. So I will work on getting some of it cleaned up. I just can't promise how much of it I will get on video. Overall, I'm happy with the season. I'm happy with how flower sales have gone. I'm happy with how the things have grown. I'm happy with every lesson I've learned. Really disappointed about the glads, but I guess next year I'm going to learn a whole bunch about nematodes. And I'm going to do some research to see if I need to be doing some this fall. Maybe see if I can treat some early on. They're talking about September being warmer and warming back up. So maybe I will order some because they ship out in a week from the one company I looked at. And I can explain what I do to you. I just can't guarantee I can bring you along because, again, time. Time is of the essence, right? So I will keep you updated as I can. Thank you for watching the garden tour, paying attention to everything I've done this season, watching all of my video made notes that hopefully I'm going to remember as I order seed and start stuff next year. How much I'm not going to plant. I'm never going to listen to it, but listen, future me, listen to past me. You don't need everything you planted last year. Yeah, good luck. Okay, we will see you in the next one. Thanks for coming along. Have a good one.